about loyalty, but you ain't ready to ride. Get your mind right, he coming like a thief in the night. Is you ready? Is you ready? You ain't really about it if you ain't prepared to die. Talking about loyalty, but you ain't ready to ride. Get your mind right, he coming like a thief in the night. Is you ready? Is you ready? You ain't really about it if you ain't prepared to die. Talking about loyalty, but you ain't ready to ride. Get your mind right, he coming like a thief in the night. Is you ready? Is you ready? Laughing at your idol gods, looking like some Digimons. Babylon won't carry on, this dragon getting mini bombs. You can call me Daniel, son, you know I serve the living God. Yours is made of brass.
Okay, shalom, family. Most High Christ bless. I'm Officer Sariah. Definitely, before I get started, I want to give a big shout out to our leadership, Bishop Nathaniel, Bishop Yawasap, Bishop Kanai, all of our deacons, all of our captains. These men labor tirelessly to give us the understanding of the scriptures. And it's a blessing too, because if it was left up to the church, we would definitely be destroyed. We got classes on 7 days a week, all day. You got the YouTube. Brothers is online on the Clubhouse, all over the internet, teaching and bringing out the scriptures. Brothers in the street. So all praise to the Most High for the word going out. Today, we're going to be talking about the great white hope, Donald Trump, and him rolling back the quote-unquote DEI initiatives. And DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right. So with him rolling this back, we're starting to see it's kind of shaking some things up, right? A lot of what he's doing is shaking stuff up. You got some people leaning one way, some other people leaning a different way. But what is our place in it? Because we know that the scriptures tells us. Let's read it real quick. Let's read it now that I'm thinking about it. Deuteronomy 17. I didn't even really have this written down, but let's go there real quick. Let's go there. What is the Israelites' part in today's governmental system? Right? Let's read it. Deuteronomy 17 and what's verse 15?
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15.
Thou
shalt in any wise.
In no wise, read.
Set him king over thee.
Whom
the Lord thy God shall choose.
So the king that we're going to have over us, it says that the Lord shall choose. But wait a minute. So did the Lord choose Donald Trump? Well, hey, listen, the scriptures do say that everything goes on because the Most High allows it to go on, right? The rulers that rule. But this is talking about Israel and who we give our time and our attention to, right? Read it from the top again.
Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren.
That's the key. One from among your brethren. Read.
Shalt thou set king over thee.
And so now, real quick, let's jump to Hosea. It says, set him over the one of our brother. Hosea chapter 13 and start at verse number 9. And then we'll get started.
Hosea chapter 13, verse 9. O Israel, thou hast destroyed thyself. But in me is thine help.
But in me is thy help. What does Christ say? Read.
I will be thy king.
Christ will be our king, not Donald J. Trump. And then now we get excited because now Trump talking about giving out these $5,000, $8,000 checks. Oh, Trump is the man. What did Christ say?
I will be thy king.
Read.
Where is any other that may save thee in all thy cities?
Wait, so is it going to be Christ or is it going to be Trump? Read.
And thy judges of whom thou settest, give me a king and princes.
So that is the Israelites' role in today's governmental system. It is. Listen, it don't have nothing to do with us. And as we're going to see as the class goes on, even this whole DEI initiative, it's completely against how God wants us to what's the word? I can't even think of the word, but it's against the law, statutes, and commandments that God gave us for ourselves and how we govern ourselves. So now let's get started. Let's go to 1 Ezra chapter 8 and we're going to start at verse number 82.
1 Ezra chapter 8. Verse 82. And now, O Lord, what shall we say, having these things? For we have transgressed thy commandments, which thou gavest by the hand of thy servants, the prophets, saying that the land which ye enter into to possess as an heritage is a land polluted with the pollutions of the strangers of the land.
So the children of Israel served in captivity in Egypt. God sends Moses to free them from that captivity, gives them their own land for them to be established, gives them their own laws, gives them what they're supposed to eat, how they're supposed to dress, how they're supposed to carry themselves, how they set up their businesses. Everything about their life was given to them by Most High. We didn't even have to think. But the land that we were going to was already inhabited. It says it was inhabited by strangers, and it was full of pollutions. Why? Because you had other nations that were sacrificing children and worshiping their idol gods in our land. So we had to get rid of those things, right? Keep reading.
And they have filled it with their uncleanness.
And they filled our land with their uncleanness. Now, keep reading.
Therefore, now shall ye not join your daughters unto their sons. Neither shall ye take their daughters unto your sons.
Read.
Moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them, that ye may be strong.
You should never seek to have peace with them, that ye may be strong. So we are not supposed to be intermingling, sharing customs, sharing religions, sharing holidays with these heathen. He says, don't even give your sons to their daughters, your daughters to their son. He says, that you may be strong. So the weakness that we have comes from us intermingling with these other nations. That's why we have such a hard time coming together. Why? Because the scripture says that how can two come together except they be agreed? Well, if you got one person believing in Christianity, another person believing in Islam, one person celebrating this holiday, one person want to keep the laws of God, it's confusion. And God is not the author of confusion. He just told you very clearly, we're not supposed to be with them. We need to get rid of them because they're polluting the land. And then he says that if we do that, that's how we can be strong. But if we intermingle, we're going to end up being weak. Keep reading.
And eat the good things of the land, and that ye may leave the inheritance of the land unto your children forevermore.
So that we leave the inheritance of the land to our children forevermore. So God established us, gave us everything we need to govern ourselves. But the issue is Israel had a problem with intermingling with these other nations. It was a big issue. So now let's dig into it. Let's go. Give me the first. Yeah, let's go to the Wikipedia, and we're going to read about this diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let's start there.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion in the United States. Diversity, equity, and inclusion,
DEI,
are organizational frameworks that seek to promote the fair treatment and full participation of all people.
So we already got a problem because we just read that God said. Now go back to First Ezra real quick and read verse 84.
First Ezra chapter 8, verse 84. Therefore, now shall ye not join your daughters unto their sons, neither shall ye take their daughters unto your sons.
Read.
Moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them, that ye may be strong.
Now this says it is organizational frameworks that seek to promote the fair treatment and full participation of all people. They want to intermingle, or another word would be assimilate. So the whole reason why these quote unquote frameworks have to exist in the first place is because we assimilated into their society, took on their customs, and obviously it was through slavery, but we've taken on their customs, taken on their philosophy, taken on their everything about these other nations. And then now that we've been assimilated, we're now being mistreated. We're being shot down. We're being put in jail. But where is the inclusion? Where if it's supposed to be diverse and equity inclusion, well, how are we included? We're not, because every time we turn on the TV, we're the ones that's being harassed by the police. We're the ones that's being shot down. So the point is, it's supposed to promote the fair treatment for all people. Keep reading, where it says particularly.
Particularly groups who have historically been underrepresented.
Groups that have been historically underrepresented. Meaning they know. This country knows what it has done to Israel. Keep reading.
Or subject to discrimination based on identity or disability.
Which they took both from us. They took our identity and made us disabled. How did they make us disabled? Because we just read in 1 Ezra 8 and 85 that we shall not seek to have peace with them, that we may be strong. This intermingling has disabled us. It's keeping us in sin. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that it's okay for you to celebrate Christmas, celebrate Christ's birthday. Nowhere in the Bible does it say it's okay for you to eat pork. Nowhere in the Bible does it say, I want you to celebrate these worldly holidays, this 4th of July. It's not in there because God didn't give it to us. He gave us our own holidays and everything to make us different than everybody else. Go back, keep reading.
These three notions, diversity, equity, and inclusion, together represent three closely linked values which organizations seek to institutionalize through DEI frameworks. The concepts predate this terminology, and other variations sometimes include terms such as belonging, justice, and accessibility.
Scroll it up. Right there, yep.
As such, frameworks such as inclusion and diversity, I&D, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, DEIB, justice, equity, diversity and inclusion, JEDI, or EDIJ, or diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, IDEA, DEIA.
I know it's a lot.
Or DEAI.
A lot of the same letters is kind of. I know it got me too. Keep reading.
In the United Kingdom, the term equality, diversity, and inclusion, EDI, is used in a similar way.
So above, when it mentioned about these frameworks are not new ideas, these are it's pretty much all the same concept as DEI, but it's just named different things. So now let's go into a little bit more. Let's talk about diversity specifically. Read.
Diversity refers to the presence of variety within the organizational workforce in characteristics such as gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, disability, age, culture, class, veteran status, or religion.
All these different things that is because America is known as the great melting pot. Give me Revelation chapter 18, and we'll start at verse number 4.
Revelation chapter 18, verse 4.
And
I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Read.
For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities.
So you have to keep in mind that since we've been on this side of the world, America has done everything that it could possibly do to keep our people down. Through whether it be through education, whether it be through medicine, through agriculture, through the food, in every aspect of our lives, America has not done anything to try to benefit us. And so now the whole idea of it trying to be diverse is talking about the gender and ethnicity and sexual orientation, disability, religion, all these different things. But remember, the whole point was it was said that it was supposed to create these frameworks to make it equal for all people. But now we're saying that, okay, we understand that we need to come out of these different things because this diversity has not done anything to benefit our people. If anything, it's been to our demise because it appears as if the more we try to include ourselves in today's society, the worse it becomes for us. Let's go back to it. Let's keep reading. Pick up where it says, read diversity one more time.
Diversity refers to the presence of variety within the organizational workforce in characteristics such as gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, disability, age, culture, class, veteran status, or religion.
So now let's go to the scriptures. Let's see how the Bible defines or deals with our diversity. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 33 and verse number 10. We're going to read verse 10 and 11.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 33, verse 10. And all men are from the ground. And Adam was created of earth.
Right, so all men are from the ground. Adam created from the dirt. Read.
Verse 11.
From the earth, read.
Verse 11. In much knowledge, the Lord hath divided them.
Wait. In much knowledge, God did what?
Have divided them.
God divided them, read.
And made their ways diverse.
Wait, so God created God created our people. It says that he divided all of the people on the earth, so-called Asians you here, so-called Esau you over here. Everybody has you're supposed to be with your own people. He says he divided them and then made their ways diverse. That's why Israel is the only nation of people on the face of this earth that has law. Like it says, the scripture says that our laws are peculiar. The reason those laws are peculiar is because they only pertain to us. So you can't mix in nobody else where they don't fit in, because the scripture just told you that God divided them and made their ways diverse. Let's go even farther. Let's go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 26.
Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me.
Wait, jump up to verse, no, 26 is fine. Yeah, read 26.
Verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me.
Uh-huh.
For I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine.
What did God do?
Severed you from other people.
So if America's agenda is to have it to be diverse, this means that this is directly against God's commandment and what he had set up for Israel. He says that I am holy and I have severed you. Severed you mean I've cut off, like how we read in Ecclesiasticus, when it says that he divided them and made their ways diverse. We're not supposed to be doing what these other nations do. As a matter of fact, let's make it even more plain. That's Exodus 11. It doesn't get any more plain than this. Exodus 11 and 7.
Exodus chapter 11, verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
We are different. And just because you have two people groups that look the same does not mean that they are the exact same nation of people. When God says he put a difference between Egypt and Israel, guess what? The Egyptians are a dark-skinned people. But guess what? So is Israel. But just because we share the same skin pigmentation does not mean that we are the same person. You can read about that in Ham in the Bible dictionary. So now, as a matter of fact, do we have that? Do we have the Ham in the Bible dictionary? Okay, understood. No worries. So well, we can edit in there later. So let's read it. We can edit in there a little bit later. And it's the same as if you were to look at a so-called Chinese person and a so-called Japanese person. Now, to me, I'm not able to tell the difference. I don't spend my time around their culture or whatever. But if you stand them next to each other, I would be hard pressed to tell the difference. But if you call a Chinese person Japanese or a Japanese person Chinese, they would be offended. Why? Because even though they look the same, it does not mean that they are the same group of people. Similarly with Israel, yes, we are a dark-skinned people, but we are not Hamites. We're not those Nilotic Africans. That is not us. Let's read about it.
This is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary in page 213. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races.
He is the forefather of the dark races.
Not the Negroes.
But not the dark race that's classified as Negroes. So he's the forefather of the dark race, but not the classification of the ones that's called Negroes. So you have two people that share skin pigmentation, but they are completely different people. Keep reading.
But the Egyptians.
That's what we just read, how Exodus 11:7 says that Israel is different than the Egyptians. They are not the same. Read.
Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let's go back up to the Wikipedia. So we dealt with the diversity aspect. Now let's deal with the equity. This is where it gets a little hectic right here. So pick up where it says equity.
Equity refers to concepts of fairness and justice.
Concepts of fairness. which we have not received, and justice, which we still don't receive. Keep reading.
Such as fair compensation and substantive equality.
And that substantive equality is more so along the lines of like having resources that are evenly distributed throughout the community. But we know for a fact that that's not the case. We know that because when you look at our neighborhoods, you know what is evenly distributed throughout our neighborhoods? Liquor stores, the Christian church. I'm seeing now a lot of those with those vape stores or whatever, the smoke shops or whatever, popping up. Yeah, what do they call it? The CBD stores or whatever, popping up all in our neighborhood. But if you go to the more affluent neighborhoods, you don't see those things. We don't get the resources to have the good education or have the good food. So if it's supposed to be about diversity, equity, or the fairness and justice, again, where is our fairness? Where is the justice? Right? So now let's go to let's see how the Bible deals with it. Let's go to the book of Nahum, chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse number 1. We're dealing with the fairness and justice of the so-called equity portion of DEI.
Nahum chapter 3, verse 1. Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not.
Wait, so it's woe to the bloody city. You know, America has a lot to answer for when Christ comes back. Not even just America. Esau as a whole has a lot to answer for. This entire nation was built off of our forefathers' backs, and we have no compensation for it. We spent hundreds of years picking cotton and have no stock in cotton. We have not benefited. I heard an argument. I forgot who was saying it. It was on social media, and they were talking about how you look at guys like your affluent athletes and your celebrities, right? The people that are so-called well-to-do in society today, and that because those people exist, that means that America is, and we are about equal opportunity. We are fair. Well, wait a minute, hold on. Even those people that are affluent and that are well-to-do, they still, because I forget exactly where Oprah was, but she got her nigga wake-up call. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how much money you think you have, you're still going to be subservient to Esau. There is no way to get around it. It says, woe to the bloody city. This entire world has to answer for what it has done to God's children. It says it's full of lies and robbery. Listen, of all of the inventions that have been created, where is the not the benefit? How have our people profited from those things? Because if we don't own the patent, we don't get to continue to make money off of it. And then a lot of the inventions are stolen in the first place. When you read in Baruch 3, when it says God, he gives his knowledge to Jacob, and then you also couple that with Proverbs where it says that we have knowledge of witty inventions, well, it makes sense that we are the major inventors in society today. Everything that is of use today was created by a so-called black person. And then the profit from it goes to the man that oppresses us. This place is full of lies and full of robbery. Now, let's read how he did it. How did he make this land full of our blood? How did he rob us? Verse 2.
Verse 2. The noise of a whip.
The noise of a what?
Of a whip.
So the oppression that we had to endure, our forefathers, our foremothers, hours upon hours upon hours in that hot sun with barely enough water to drink. And then you, as a form of correction, now we got to get beat with whips. Read.
And the noise of the rattling of the wheel.
That's the slave catcher. Read.
And of the prancing horses. And of the jumping chariots.
Read.
The horsemen lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear. And there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses.
So back in the day of slavery, you would have your slave catchers on the horses, right? Their job was to, and they were the early form of police officers. That's all it transitioned to today. And the proof of it is those same slave catchers. It says that the horsemen lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there's a multitude of slain. Well, instead of horses today, you get that cop car. That police officer get behind you and turn them lights on. That the fear of God will enter into you, even if your license is good, your registration good, everything's good. But then now, where's that fear come from? It says, and then there's a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses. How many times do we have to turn on the television to see our brothers and sisters lying down dead in the street? We can sit here and name the names all day. But here's the thing, though. Who does that happen to the most? Who does it happen to the most? It only affects our people way more disproportionately than any other nation of people. So this whole idea of diversity, equity, and inclusion, fairness, and justice, it is not applied to us. We don't fit in. We're not supposed to fit in. God says that he divided us. Our laws are peculiar. We're supposed to be moving and behaving this way, not trying to intermingle with the other societies. The very first scripture we read says that in us doing that, well, if we don't do that, we will be strong. But look at our communities today. Strung out on drugs, babies having babies, the educational system, like the kids today, they don't want nothing to do with education. They'd rather be typing on their tablets and their phone. Everything's out of whack because we keep disobeying God. So the fairness and justice that we want, we're only going to get it when Christ comes back. And you'll only receive it if you're found to be keeping God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Jump to Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 22.
Isaiah chapter 42, verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
Well, we just read about in the book of Nahum, right? We're talking about fairness and justice, but it says this is a people that have been robbed and spoiled. Read.
They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, restore.
So when you look at our people as a whole, and I mean so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are the ones that make up the majority of the population in the prisons. There is no other demographic of people that make up the majority of the population of prisons outside of our people. But again, we're talking about fairness and justice, right? Fairness and justice. All of this comes from us wanting to intermingle with these other nations. It says that we're snared and whole and hid in prison houses. Right. So now, watch this. Give me the article. Keep that up because we're gonna come back to it. But give me the article about the black men in the prisons. Yeah, right there. No, not that one. The next one. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to that one. Yeah, let's read this.
This is 3WTKR. Data shows black men receive harsher punishments than whites for same crimes.
For the exact same crime. So you have a black man commit a crime and a white man commit a crime, the exact same crime, but why do our people get harsher sentences? Let's scroll down and read a little bit.
York County, Virginia. Black men statistically receive harsher prison sentences than white men who commit the same crimes, according to the U.S. Sentencing Commission.
This is coming from the U.S. Sentencing Commission. Like there's a whole board that has done this research, and they know that our people get harsher sentences than any other nation. Keep reading.
The simple answer is racism.
It's racism. Read.
Said Brad Haywood, a public defender in Northern Virginia. It's no shock to me that somebody who's black goes into a courtroom and isn't given the fair shake that somebody who's white gets. The disproportionate sentencing of black men Lawrence Stevens and Darnell Nolan compared to their white co-defendants in a York County robbery case recently brought national attention to the issue.
So now watch this. Hold that article there. Let's read Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 53. We're going to come right back to it.
Lamentations chapter 3, verse 53.
Start at verse 52.
Verse 52. Mine enemies chase me sore, like a bird without cause.
It says our enemies chase us sore like a bird without a cause. Read.
They have cut off my life in the dungeon and cast a stone upon me.
When it says they have cut off my life in a dungeon, it means that that's life in prison. That's like your whole life thrown away. Your enemies are chasing after you. Again, where is the equity? If it's about fairness and justice, but let's go into even more detail from what the U.S. Sentencing Commission was able to discover in their research. Go back to the article and then start where it says Stevens.
Stevens was 18 years old when he robbed two people inside their York County home.
Now, obviously, we're not in agreement with robbing. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not steal." Right? Keep reading.
At gunpoint, at the direction of 29-year-old Paul Michael Melendres, his white co-worker from a fast food restaurant on the peninsula.
Read.
Nolan, who was 17 years old at the time, helped Stevens and Melendres carry out the crime. Judge Prentice Smiley Jr. sentenced Stevens to 1,823 years in prison.
I mean, see, I'm getting tongue-tied reading the number. How you give a person 1,800? So that means what the scripture says. The days of our lives are 70 years, and by way of strength 80. So if you're healthy, you should be able to achieve at least 80 years. Even if this man die and come back 10, 12 times, he's 1,823 years. But that's not even the surprising part. Let's read. Go back. Read Stevens again.
Yes, sir. Sentenced Stevens to 1,823 years in prison. While sentencing Nolan to 33 years in prison.
Wait a minute now. How do you that 1,823 years? That's crazy. Like, why? I don't even understand the logic of that. Like, when you watch a lot of these court cases too, and you see these guys getting multiple life sentences, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense, because if you got life means life. So why would you need multiple life sentences? Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think life is only 25 years, or they consider life 25 years. I don't know, but 1,823 years versus 33 years. Keep reading.
However, the judge sentenced Melendres to 10 years on the same charges.
That's crazy. But remember, we're talking about fairness and justice, right? We want to be assimilated into American society so bad, right? As opposed to keeping God's commandments. See, listen, I don't care about no Trump checks. I don't care about none of that stuff. I want the kingdom of heaven. That's what I want. I want the rulership on this earth. I want the enemies that did my forefathers and foremothers wrong to pay for what they've paid for. I mean, to pay for what they've done to our people. This is ridiculous. It'll make you angry if you just sit down and just read it long enough and then realize, like, this man, because we broke God's laws, because we decided to disobey our God, that's the only reason why this man has the power to do what he does. To give out, that's let's keep reading. It's ridiculous.
I felt like I died in court that day, said Stevens, who was released from prison along with Nolan in January due to a pardon from former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam. The criminal justice system in America, it just needs a lot of work.
It needs a lot of work. Wait a minute. It needs more than just a lot of work. If you give one person 1,000 years, somebody else 33 years, and then another person 10 years, that's crazy. Keep reading. Oh, you threw me off. Oh, there we go.
Considering the way that young black men are being unfairly sentenced as opposed to their white peers.
Read.
According to the U.S. Sentencing Commission, black male offenders on average received sentences 20.4% longer than white males who commit the same crimes. Additionally, according to the Virginia State Crime Commission, black males were found to receive sentences that were 50% longer than white males. If this is a fair system, I think it meant to say if. Yes, if this is a fair system, if the color of your skin determines your punishment more than what you actually did, said Amy Fatigue with the Sentencing Project. The Washington, D.C. based organization's analysts found cracks in the American criminal justice system.
Wait, you don't need to find cracks in the system to see that we just read that a man got 1,000 years, another man got 33, and another man got 10 years for the exact same crime. That's ridiculous. Now you can take it down now. But again, we're talking about fairness and justice and the equally dispersed resources all throughout our communities. Nah, it's not happening. But again, remember, we started off by saying in first. Let's one more time. Let's go back real quick. One more time. Let's to get the point. First Ezra 8. Real quick. Just want to get the point. At verse 85.
First Ezra chapter 8, verse 85. Moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them, that ye may be strong.
All right, so now, that's the article I want now. So now let's put that one up. Let's put this one up. So now, because we're talking about this DEI, now it says that the whole point of the DEI initiative was to create these frameworks to make things fair for all people, right? And the first letter is D, which is diverse, meaning it's supposed to encompass a wide variety of people, right? So if the DEI initiatives are supposed to benefit a wide range of people, the other question is, well, who does it actually benefit the most? Who receives the most resources or the most from the government for these DEI programs? All right, so now let's read it. Let's read it. Go all the way to the top. Go all the way to the top. We're going to read the title. And don't be shocked when you read it.
Why white women benefited the most from DEI programs.
Hold on now. Hold on. So this is about being fair, having equal justice for a wide variety of people. Yet the number one person that benefits from this is a so-called white woman. How did that happen? Let's read.
Some Americans are shocked to learn that black people are not the primary beneficiaries of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs because, for many, these policies are synonymous with discussions about race. While companies voluntarily adopted policies to address racial discrimination in the workplace during the 1960s and 70s, they were designed to help a number of marginalized groups, including religious minorities and veterans.
And the only reason why these companies adopted these policies is because they were receiving funds from the government. Because remember, we're talking about the 60s and 70s. We know what happened in the 60s with our concerning our people. That was around the time of the Panthers. You had the American Indian movement. You had the Brown Berets. A lot of our people were fighting just for the right to be called civil. So these corporations weren't looking out. They weren't just being nice and just being friendly, right? Because as a matter of fact, we'll go to that part next, the one about Target, because as soon as Trump gets in office and signs the executive order to roll back these DEI programs, you had corporations like Walmart, Target, and it was another one, Walmart, Target. I forget the third one, but it was a couple of different major companies that, now keeping in mind, we're going to read how it benefits white women more, but when these major corporations got rid of their DEI programs or whatever they had going on, it only negatively affected the so-called black community. Like a lot of the black, you have like a lot of black brands, like they have some people making different soaps and combs or whatever case may be, that these stores were selling. Those stores decided that they no longer wanted to sell those things. So again, where is the equity? Where is the inclusion? Where is the fairness? Where is the justice? Why is it goes to show and prove that we are not the beneficiaries of any of this stuff. We want to be assimilated with America. We want America the great, America the proud, the American freedom, brothers and sisters joining the military. And I'm not saying nothing's wrong with joining the military, but I'm saying just it's the whole idea of this inclusiveness in America when nothing that they do is for us. So now let's read. Keep reading.
White women have benefited the most from DEI programs, while women remain underrepresented at every stage of the corporate pipeline.
While women remain underrepresented at every stage in the corporate pipeline, read.
A McKinsey study estimated it would take 48 years for women of color to achieve gender parity, while only 22 years for white women to reach this milestone.
Showing that there is a difference. There's a difference. And no, before I go to, let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. It's going to explain it.
Companies that uplift white women to leadership positions are often applauded for advancing diversity.
So now I get the praise or my AKA quote unquote government funding if I am, and I'm considered to be diverse if I'm uplifting white women to leadership positions. right? So again, it is not to the benefit of our people. They're only doing it for kickbacks. Keep reading.
Even when they fail to extend opportunities to black women and men.
Because it was never designed for us in the first place. Read.
Since private companies decide.
And to that same point, though, because when you look at our people, even all throughout history, we've always had to overachieve or go beyond to try to get in the positions and get in the rooms that we're in. Whereas you have these programs that just you'll take a none or very less qualified person and then put that person in the position over the black brother or black sister that is way more qualified. But it's because of things like this. Keep reading.
Since private companies decide if, when, and how these programs are applied.
Wait, so they get to decide how these programs are applied. That's okay. So now we're gonna come back to this. Now, give me the one with Target. Give me the one with Target. We're gonna keep that up. We're gonna come right back to it. It should be that one right there. So now, we don't need the title. Just come down where it says earlier this week.
Earlier this week, Target announced they were rolling back their DEI program, following in the footsteps of Walmart,
Amazon. That's what it was. Okay.
And Amazon.
Read.
But this announcement hit differently, especially in the black community.
So wait a minute now. If these major corporations are rolling back their programs, we just read that they have the ability to decide when and if and how these programs are established. Well, then why again, if they're rolling back these, why is it affecting our people? Oh, it makes sense now why, again, white women are benefiting more. Again, it was never for us. But keep reading. Let's see what Target did.
Included in their DEI rollback is the elimination of the supplier diversity program.
So they completely got rid of the supplier diversity program, as in meaning you had these so-called black entrepreneurs that were selling their products in these stores, and they would supply those stores with their product, and then in exchange that store would sell their product, and they would, I guess, split however the money goes or whatever. But Target say, we're just going to completely get rid of it. We're going to completely get rid of the diversity program. Keep reading.
Which had pledged $2 billion to black brands.
$2 billion specifically to black brands. But then now with Trump's executive order, magically all this it just goes away now. It goes away. Keep reading.
In addition to onboarding 500 black-owned products in their stores this year.
So prior to that, they were going to add new black products to their stores. Keep reading.
Well, now they are backtracking on that promise, and black consumers aren't taking this rollback without some pushback.
So let's get rid of this. Or let's go back to the other one. So now we're able to see. When it says that these corporations have the ability to control it, this is exactly what happened. And it said that it was, that's the second one, yep. Mm-hmm. The white women article. Yep, right there, So we're able to see, pick back up where it says companies uplift. No, I'm sorry, since private companies decide.
Since private companies decide if, when, and how these programs are applied. And there is no referee in this game.
Meaning there's nobody that can stop. Listen, this is my company. I can do with it how I please. You can't tell me how. You just give me the money, and I'll decide which programs I'm going to accept. If I'm going to accept this brand or this particular creator or whatever, I'll decide. You stay out of my business. Let me run my corporation how I want to run it. Read.
So to speak, the outcomes have not satisfied the goal of advancing racial equity. Selecting white women to fill leadership positions produces a more favorable public image.
Selecting white women to fill leadership positions produces a more favorable public image. You know why? Because they don't give a damn about you. They don't care. They don't care. Read.
Yet, when companies avoid the more challenging objective of fostering racial diversity.
Wait, but how is it more challenging? We know clearly right now that the most educated demographic of people in America right now is the so-called black woman. So if that's the case, then why is it more challenging to give them to avoid the more challenging objective of fostering racial diversity? Well, why is that the case? Read.
They undermine the value of diversity.
Read.
Research has indicated that while increasing women's overall representation is necessary, It's insufficient for addressing the challenges women of color face navigating professional careers. In other words, hiring more white women does nothing to address racial inequities of construct a more inclusive environment.
So basically what they're saying is that you're doing all of this for so-called, listen, this whole world is being ran by white men. And so now they're trying to push the white women. And it's saying that just because you simply hire more white women, it does not address any of this racial nonsense or even the idea of this inclusiveness. It don't even address it because you're still disproportionately favoring Esau over anybody else, even though our people are more qualified. So now, let's go back to the very first article. Let's deal with the inclusion portion. We dealt with diversity. We dealt with the equity. So now let's deal with the inclusion, right? Scroll down. No, come back up. Come back up. Going too fast. Going too fast. Going too fast. No, come back down. A little slower. A little bit slower. Wait, you're going too fast. I can't see it if you're going too fast. All right. Okay, pick up where it says finally inclusion.
Finally, inclusion refers to creating an organizational culture that creates an experience where all employees feel their voices will be heard and a sense of belonging and integration.
A sense of belonging and a sense of integration. Another word for integration is assimilation. And then the way assimilation works is, if you can imagine having different nations, imagine different nations of people sitting at the table, right? Let's say you have the so-called Chinese men, so-called Japanese, whatever. You got these different nations sitting around this table. And each one of these nations has something of value to bring to the table, to offer to everybody else that's sitting at the table, right? So now we're going to all share in resources, share in wealth or whatever. The problem is that so-called black people can't rightfully assimilate into society because we don't have anything to bring to the table to offer. We have to be dependent on everybody else. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think China controls a lot of what goes on in the Caribbean. They build a lot of the roads and a lot of the buildings. Similar with here, you got the government, you got WIC, you got the food stamps, all these different programs. Like, which one is it that Section 8, that says it's a governmental program that will house a woman and her child as long as the father is not in the picture. Now, what kind of program is that? Like why would you even create something like that? It clearly separates the family. So what you're saying is, government, I'll be the father. You can get your money and get your cheese and your juice or your food stamps or whatever. You get it from me. We're gonna get rid of this guy over here, and you just keep you stay right here, just you and your child. But you can't have no man around. Families, children, they thrive off of two-parent households. So what would be the logic behind destroying the household? Oh, okay, we know it keeps our people down. So we can't even properly assimilate into society if we don't have anything of benefit to bring to the table. Not if you got other nations they got minerals and golds and infrastructure. And like, what are we bringing? Well, our music, our TikTok dances. Right, you're twerking and world star hip hop. That's what we bring to the table. No, we can't even properly. So the whole idea of inclusion, the integration wouldn't work for us in the first place. But we don't need it to, because God has already given us our own laws, statutes, and commandments. He told, let's watch this. Go to Revelations 22. This is what God said. 22 and verse number 14.
Revelation chapter 22, verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life.
Everlasting life.
And may enter in through the gates into the city.
Into a gated community. They are not welcome. So now let's read the gates. Let's read about the gates of this gated community. That, because when you look at a lot of religions, well, more specifically Christianity, they take our book and pervert everything in this book and try to make it all inclusive. So you mean to tell me I gotta pick cotton all day, and I'm praying to God, but then my slave master is praying to the exact same God. But why aren't my prayers being answered and his prayers being answered? It's because the God of this Bible is not a so-called white man. He is a so-called black man. He is a so-called black man. This Bible has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with Christianity and its all-inclusiveness. You hear, for God so loved the world, and because of your the Christian mind, you he loves everybody in the world. It's Jews and Gentiles. But then when you actually read the book the way it was supposed to be read, it tells you that that's only talking about Israel. You will have people argue you up and down that, and they go into Revelation chapter 7, all these different places will argue up and down about this Bible being all-inclusive, yet Christ out his own mouth says, I am only for the nation of Israel. That's not inclusive. Read the gates. Read the gates.
Revelation chapter 21, verse 12.
And
had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates. And at the gates, 12 angels.
Listen, gates, they protect the people that's on the inside. And the gates, they protect the people that's already on the inside, but they also protect you from outside forces. But then on top of that, you have a guard that's at the gate. So if any nonsense trying to come through this gate, you got guards to stop it and a barrier, because everybody's not supposed to be in there. But who's supposed to be there? Read.
And names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
Every nation, not every nation, not every nation. It is only Israel. So this whole idea of inclusiveness has nothing to do with us. And the whole point of DEI in the first place is supposed to further assimilate us into American society. Because America is so diverse, and we have so much fairness and so much justice, and we love it. We're the great melting pot. Yet again, disproportionately, we make up the majority of the people that's in prison. We make up the majority of the people that's getting killed by the police officers. We don't get the government funds. We don't get the resources. We have the worst education, drugs in our community. Like, how is this all inclusiveness? But let's go to First Maccabees. Let's go First Maccabees, because now we're going to read about what happens when because clearly we see it today. But even in biblical times, we get to see the product of what happens when you try to assimilate with other nations. We're going to read First Maccabees chapter 1. We're going to read verse 11, and then we're going to jump. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11.
Start at verse 11.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many.
Well, wait, look, it starts off by saying, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men. So this is our people going to other nations. Read.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
So wait, let us go and make an agreement. We need to go and make a league. I'm gonna be a Democrat. I'm gonna be a Republican. We're gonna make this league with these other nations. Read.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Now you got to realize the slave mentality that is. His man is saying, since we departed from the heathen, meaning since we separated ourselves, like how we read in Leviticus 26, how we read in Ecclesiastes 33. God had already divided us. We were not supposed to be around these other nations. He says that we may be strong, but he says, from the day since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Wait a minute. I can think of Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we were not assimilated with the society, and they were thriving. There were doctors and hospitals and hotels and businesses. They were so successful that the city got bombed from an inferior group of people because they couldn't do what we did. It takes a certain special type of person to be able to thrive in harsh conditions, because that's all we've ever done. That's all we've ever known is these harsh conditions. Now jump to verse number 40. Time kind of running out on me. Verse 41.
Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Here is the origin of your democracy. We're going to all be one people. Read.
And everyone should leave his laws.
Wait. So whatever you were doing, we're going to stop doing those, and we're going to come together and follow the same laws together, right? Just like how these men, these stupid ends, say, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow, relying on the resources of the heathen. And now we read about this king who's trying to assimilate everybody together. How did it work out? Let's keep reading.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
Read.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
Many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. Read.
And sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
They assimilated into society. They decided that the laws and commandments that God gave us, well, we're no longer going to do those. We're going to do what this king does. We're going to be great citizens of this democracy. How did that fare for them? Jump down to verse number 44.
Verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
Read.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
Read.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
So wait. So we weren't doing any of these things, but the moment you start to assimilate with the heathen, now your entire culture and everything that God gave you goes out the window. Why? Because they realize, when you read in the book of Judah chapter 5, these other nations understand something that clearly our people seem to not be able to understand. As long as we are in sin, God will not fight for us. It's only when we get out of this nonsense, that's why we read Revelation 18, come out of her, my people. Don't be partakers of her sin. Come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. We read Revelation 22. Blessed are they that do the commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life. So the moment you try to assimilate, now all this nonsense start happening. Now you got everything that makes you who you are. Your entire culture goes out the window. Keep reading. It gets worse.
That they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
And what's the end goal? Read.
To the end, they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
America wants lawlessness, because as long as we are in sin, God will not fight for us, and America will continue to thrive. But guess what? We have a Bishop Nathaniel. We have a Bishop Yawasap. We have a Bishop Kanai. We got deacons. We got captains. We got officers. We got brothers that's going to stand strong and say, to hell with America's ways. We're going to follow the laws of God. We're going to march in the street. We're going to wake up our people. We're going to go to these projects. We're going to go to these schools. We're going to go to these barbershops. We're going to go in these communities, and we're going to wake up our people and tell them, get out of America's ways. This DEI nonsense is not for you. It has nothing to do with you. The moment you assimilate with these other nations, look at what they start trying to do. Watch it. Jump down to verse number 50.
Verse 50. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
Wait a minute now. So now when you subject yourself to their authority, and then you don't do what they tell you to do, it says you should die. See, Bishop, they say all the time, don't think that it can't come to America. Because right now, we Most High has given us mercy. We're able to read the Bible, teach, go do what we're doing, right? But don't be surprised if one of these laws in the Constitution change, and then your free speech ain't free no more, right? The so-called freedoms that you think that you enjoy go completely out the window. It can happen. It's happened before. It says that. I'll read that verse again.
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
Jump down to verse 57.
Verse 57. And wheresoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death.
So in two places we read about how this assimilation has not done anything to help us. We're reading about the statistics and how it benefits white women more. As a matter of fact, now give me the one about pull that down so I can see it for the articles. Give me the one that says, no, not that one, not that one. Come, not that one. And one more to the left. Let me see. Is that the one I want? Yeah, that's the one I want. Right. We're going to read that one. Because now America is the only nation. It boasts with so much authority, boasts with so much power, right? So they got over 700 bases across the world, right? If we're assimilating into this society, the question you have to ask is, why doesn't it benefit us? Because if the goal of DEI is to make it inclusive and all this good stuff for all people, then why is it not benefiting us? And again, obviously, we just read the whole point of the assimilation is to, like, we think that the government is looking out for us. But what you have to realize is that there's ulterior motives behind what they're doing. The whole point of getting us to assimilate is to get us to go against God's laws. That's why you get people that come from these other countries and they'll celebrate the 4th of July and they'll partake in the Christmas and the Halloweens and the Thanksgivings and all these other holidays because they're trying so hard to be American. But in doing so, you're turning your back on God. So this whole DEI nonsense is a ploy. It is a plot to get you to turn on God. And to even further prove that it doesn't benefit us, with as much money, with as much authority as America have, why don't America have free health care? Why, that's a question. That's why don't America have free health care? And we're going to read the article in a second, but not even just the free health care. But up until about maybe like the 60s or 70s, if I'm not mistaken, college in America used to be free. Like this whole idea of tuition and all these tests to try to get in college, it didn't exist. Those things were put in place once our people start regularly frequenting college because they have to try to make it harder now. The higher, like people, if you got college debt, understand that the reason you have college debt is because of racism. The reason we don't have free health care is because of racism. But let's read it. Let's read it.
The New York Times Magazine. Why doesn't the United States have universal health care? The answer has everything to do with race.
You gotta make that bigger. We're not gonna read all that because scroll down. It's a certain part in here that I want to read. Scroll down. Keep coming. I think it's below. Yeah, we're gonna read that paragraph right there.
White legislators argued that free assistance of any kind would breed dependence and that when it came to black infirmity, hard labor was a better salve than white medicine.
Wait a minute now. Listen to what it says. Any kind of free assistance would breed dependence. Any kind of free assistance would breed dependence. So when you look in our communities and you have a lot of women that are career government assistance acceptees, well, they already understood this. Like when the Bible says in, I think it's Psalm, real quick, officer, let's jump real quick. Keep that up because we're going to get to it, but I just thought about something. Psalm 64. Psalm 64 and 4. I think it's verse 4. Psalms 64 and 5.
Psalm chapter 64, verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them?
So who's gonna know what we're doing? They so focused on their TikTok and they so focused on going to the club and shaking their behind. They not paying attention to what we're doing. All we got to do is give them a little $5,000 or give them a little something here and there, and we'll shut them. Or give them a little stimulus check. They'll be all right. We'll give them some government assistance. They'll be fine. That'll be enough to let them survive, but not enough to let them come to raise themselves out of that level of poverty. Keep reading.
They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search.
When it says they search out iniquities, mean they avidly sit down and think of ways to keep us down and keep us in sin, to the point it says that they know that free assistance would breed dependency. They know. So all we got to do is just give you this little handout, and it's going to make you dependent. Keep reading the scripture.
Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
All right, so now let's go back to the article and pick up from the top again.
White legislators argued that free assistance of any kind would breed dependence, and that when it came to black infirmity, hard labor was a better salve than white medicine. As the death toll rise, they developed a new theory. Blacks were so ill-suited to freedom that the entire race was going extinct. No charitable black scheme can wash out the color of the Negro, change his inferior nature, or save him from his inevitable fate, an Ohio congressman said.
And as you read on down further, it goes into more detail about the whole reason is they can't give free assistance or free health care is because it would help us out too much. You want to assimilate us into society, but then you don't want to give us what we need to help ourselves out. And, and I get it. I get it because we are the only nation of people that can go through what we go through, whether it be slavery, poverty, bad education, all the stuff that we deal with, and still find a way to thrive in the midst of that nonsense. You had when was the Depression was like in the 20s or 30s? When the Great Depression happened, you had whole Edomites just jumping out of windows, killing themselves because the economy went into a recession. When have we not ever been in a recession? We're always in a recession. We always making do with the little that we have. We're so used to it that we figured out how to I won't say thrive. Yeah, we'll say thrive. We figured out how to thrive in those harsh conditions. So now let's go to Mark chapter 3. It's the last scripture, Mark chapter 3. So when you look at this whole idea and this concept of this diversity, this equity and this inclusion, again, it was never meant for us. And then you have a lot of our people are, especially again with Trump being in office, you have a lot of our people were sad that Kamala didn't win, and a lot of people mad that Trump won. What you have to understand is that it's just a media ploy to make you think that there is a difference between liberals and conservatives or Democrats and Republicans. It's not. It's literally the same. It's the same. What two wings on the exact same bird? Two wings on the exact same bird. And so it's all to keep us confused and distracted and focused on everything except God's laws, statutes, and commandments. But we understand that we know that they can't be against each other because we're going to read it. Let's read what it says. Mark chapter 3. Let me get there real quick. All right, go ahead and read.
What verse you on?
Chapter 3 and verse 23.
Mark chapter 3, verse 23. And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan?
Right. So we're talking about, again, the idea of liberals and conservatives being against each other, right? Just for the whole, because the liberals, I will say this. Real quick, hold your place there because we're going to come back. Isaiah 32 and 8 real quick. I will say this. Two wings on the exact same bird, but there's a little bit of a difference when it comes to this quote unquote liberal mindset.
Isaiah chapter 32 verse 8. But the liberal deviseth liberal things.
Start at verse 5.
Verse 5.
Uh-huh.
The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail.
And so the reason I want to read this, because when it says that the vile person shall no more be called liberal, when you understand in politics the idea of the liberal, it's more or less it's like free thinking and new to with new ideas and new ways of thinking, which is why under the liberal administration you have so much pushing for sodomy, right? Men on man, woman on woman, all this LGBT nonsense, all this other stuff is because it is. Now, again, I'm not saying that the conservative is any better because, again, the point is the scripture in Mark, we're going to go back there. How can Satan cast out Satan? It's all designed. It's all created to give you the illusion, not even of inclusion, but the illusion that you actually have a choice. that your opinion actually matters. You think that this man is who's been in power since the time of Greece, is going to give you the ability to vote him out of office? Right? He's going to give you the ability to put a black woman, well, blackish, a woman in power. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. So this whole, if you caught up in that nonsense, you're bugged out, because it was, again, it's just created for the whole point of making you think that you have a choice. So go back to Mark. It says, how can Satan cast out Satan? Verse 24.
Mark chapter 3, verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand.
America would not have the authority that it did, or that it does, if they were you did this. Read it again.
And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand.
So if they were actually divided and not the exact same, America wouldn't have the power that it has. Keep reading. Last verse.
And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand.
So again, it's all a ploy. It's all a ploy to think that you have a choice. You think that you have a say-so. And if you think that you have a voice and think that you have a say-so, it would have been successful in their eyes, because now we have now included you into our society. When they gave us the right to vote, and then they gave the women the right to vote, you're now a part of society. We're no longer considered three-fifths of a man. Although they put these different frameworks, if you will, they put these different frameworks out, it was never designed to be a benefit to our people. So all praise to the Most High. That's all I got. I pray that you guys were able to get something out of it. Lord's will, we're going to continue to do the work. We're going to continue to expose this devil. We're going to continue to keep God's God's laws, statutes, and commandments. So, all right, shalom. Most High Christ bless.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.